No, we can't see that.
Okay, I'm trying this. Okay.
All right, welcome everybody to Battle Pirates Crib. Um, Thanks for showing up. We're going to talk about a few things. We're eventually going to get to VXP weekend, which is, I think, for most people, as far as getting the VXP, quite easy. Almost, it feels like a gift. The link's on the right-hand side in case anybody would like to join. Let's say hello to everybody. Magic Mike.
Hello, everybody.
Good morning, Saint.
Good morning.
Derpy.
Good morning.
You doing okay?
Yeah, I'm fantastic. Good morning. Wonderful morning.
Okay, and TSM.
I'll say good morning because it's 3 minutes past midnight. There you go. Good morning.
There we go.
So that's as close as you can get, isn't it? No, you can get closer, but
We got 2 mornings and 3 evenings, so let's move ahead. All right. See the next slide. Spacebar works, but okay. No bug fixes this week. Everything is okie dokie. So
Still full of bugs.
well, yeah, but we haven't seen any bug fix reports in
Should I start up a bug of the day? Bug of the day thread on forums. Today's bug of the day is the shipyard, brought to you by Geico Car Insurance.
Well, not sponsored by Geico, but what is the bug of the day with the shipyard?
I don't know. I could find something.
Okay, I'm just making sure. All right, let's move ahead then. Okay, I because it came up at the last moment, I just wanted to make sure everybody knew there was one of the relief bills that were passed by the BP Congress that gave you 2 one-day structure build tokens. So just know that you have them somewhere. I've already used mine, so just a heads up, because I didn't know where to put this. So let's move ahead. All right, right now we are in VXP weekend for the Reclaimer. Shadowy
Week 3.
Yep, week 3. Yeah, we are not going to get a new calendar from Kixeye until February 26th. So we can't even plan a week ahead, but whatever. It seems like we should be able to do better than that without having to watch Discord all the time and then just pick out things here and there in order to understand how the game is moving forward and what's coming next. But one more click. It looks like we're going to get the next TLC that provides 5 days of upgrades, upgrade tokens, and 8 days of build tokens for your Reclaimer. Also, this is the same week as Pillage, so that's going to be tricky. And then the following week, we have the raid. So just a heads up, everybody, as far as what's ahead of us. Any thoughts?
just seems like it's a short time period for some odd reason. I know it's only 1 or 2 days difference, but
It is though, because sometimes there's a 5-week month and we haven't got that, and it's February as well. So we've got a double negative, haven't we?
It just feels like it's really fast approaching.
Well, it feels faster approaching because something we have slides for, but we're probably not going to talk about, is the fact that we've had all our bonuses removed as far as builds and whatnot, as far as we've lost, 20% upgrade and refit times for specials, armors, and weapons. So it gets a little tricky as far as, because which we're going to get into, I, at the last moment, built a 4th Reclaimer
Yeah.
And I'm not sure that that's the best decision, but we'll get into that part later. But
I'm very interested in that, and it just seems like what you just said is just all compounding against us in terms of time.
That last week we're going to have to be very careful about how we plan things, because you're going to be wanting to build the flagship. You're going to get 8 tokens for a normal ship out of the TLC, so you might be able to build the 4th one in that last week as well. You're then going to want to rank that. You'll probably get VXP tokens out of pillage. So there's going to be a lot going on in that last week before the race.
And that last week, we're also going to get not 10 but 20 of the limited launchers.
Yes, because they'll be coming out of both pillage and the TLC.
Yes,
I've got 20 now. I'm getting 20 more later.
Yeah, you're going to get 20 more on March 3rd if you get really busy, young man. So you're going to get 20 dropping all at once while you're trying to build the flagship for the Reclaimer. It doesn't feel like optimal timing from the player perspective, just to be honest. Seems like you made it a week earlier or 2 weeks earlier, like it normally is. I'm not sure why they made this move, besides to create a level of uncomfort or lack of comfort from the player.
Or they just don't know what they're doing and don't care enough, but I didn't say that out loud.
Well, they might be looking at it the other way and going, oh, we're helping them out by giving them 2.5 weeks to build the ships so they can try and use those ones rather than the Gladius. But I don't think enough people will be further enough down the line to be able to take advantage of that anyway.
Use the Gladius. Oh, use the Gladius in the TLC?
Well, normally when you get the TLC, when it's the first week after you get the new ship, you have to use the previous cycle's ships.
Yeah, and I think next month we're going to still use the previous cycle ships just because the way these ones are built, but we'll get into that later. Yeah. All right. This might be something that an update that's ongoing is fixed. But if you take I just bring this up, launcher range, negative 35%. This is on the Reclaimer. At some point, we should talk about Reclaimer builds because I'm quite confused based on watching TSM. TSM has, how would you describe your fleet of Reclaimers?
Confusing.
Fantastic. Perfect.
I've got two
perfect
ships.
fleet.
I've got 2 ships done-ish, but I'm a bit lost on a couple of specials. But in general concept, I think after ripping apart the VXP target, which I quite like, because it's different. But let's just say it feels like we've gone back to flexible building, but it's probably because something I'm not understanding. How about that?
Okay. Yeah, it does feel that way, but there's probably only one real answer, correct?
Yeah, I probably don't understand this, Mike.
Yeah, okay. Okay, but you see this negative 35%.
Oh yeah, and I picked that up. I mean, we're at range of 62 as opposed to what it says is 90 something, isn't it? Because the minus 35. Why even bother? It must be linked to another ship or something.
Okay. Well, okay. I just wanted to emphasize negative 35% launcher range. One more click.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like reading the stats. It should apply to the thrower, but it does.
Okay.
I tested that.
Yeah. You're ruining all my slides, but okay.
All right. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So these.
I thought we were going to say minus 35% radioactive range. I would understand it, but yes. I actually put a thrower on one of my ships. I upgraded it to that. In fact, I'll stop because you were going to talk about that, weren't you? So, yeah.
Well, I think you already, you already talked about what I was going to talk about as far as the launchers go to 61.75 because of the negative 35% launcher range.
Yeah.
But one more click.
The heavy, yeah.
The heavy is a thrower, so it should say that debuff, or that debuff should be associated with radioactive and not throwers, correct?
But the thing is, if they didn't, all that would fire is if you're on auto anyway, is your throwers, your heavies, and then the rest of them would never get to fire.
Absolutely.
Because one would be nerfed by 35% and one wouldn't be nerfed at all, and you'd just be having the heavies firing, and the launcher would do nothing whatsoever. So in some ways, the wording is incorrect and he's changing to radioactive and not launcher, but actually don't nerf them at all. Either just give them don't give them so much range. What's the point? You may just give them a range of 62 and leave the hull alone. It's dumb.
Yeah, unless I wanted to put on the Punisher Mark II's heavy thrower.
Yeah, there is that.
So try and outrange the Decimator-looking turrets or whatever else. But the in-game, it now says radioactive range minus 35% or whatever that number is.
Okay, so they changed it. Yeah, as soon as right before the show starts. So okay.
It does say radioactive now. Yeah, I've just looked. Yeah.
Okay, so they changed that one. All right. So basically now the thrower is at the 62 range as well. And after watching your video, TSM, it doesn't appear that
it does anything.
Yeah, I'm not even sure what the analogy is as far as like, okay,
pissing on a forest fire.
We're not even flambeing marshmallows. It has less impact than that.
Maybe that building damage is 7.
Maybe it could be, yeah.
Yeah. That is a distinct possibility.
It has got a decimal point there. Look, it says building damage 7.0.
Yeah, because this is what I took from the briefing, and then there's a possibility that it is 7.0000.
It actually says 7 comma on mine now. It actually has got a comma, so.
Okay, yeah, I just took from the briefing, so it's.
I will say I have it on my ship with like an engine and 1 special. It does almost no damage, probably because I don't have the insane building damage multiplier yet. But
so my building damage at the moment, radioactive damage is at 1,897. My building damage is at 750 at the moment, without a special on it. I've got one more special to do, which we can go to talk about in a minute or later.
Okay. All right. All right. The other thing I'm confused. That's fine. I think unless anyone has some more heavy thorough talk, Saw Factory. I think you're already into the Saw Factory, right, TSM?
Yeah. I've got some stuff done. Yeah.
Okay. So, my understanding, as far as the confusion goes, the original confusion occurred when they released the briefing. And what I have right now showing on the screen deals with the briefing. So it has a range of 20. I'm not sure if I'm skipping too far ahead.
Mm-hmm.
But it has a range of 20, but it triggers at 120 is the way it was released.
Initially, yeah.
That's what the stats said. It was actually supposed to be 12, not 120.
Oh my goodness, you're ruining all my slides. Okay.
Well, you didn't give me the briefing. You didn't tell me what we're going to do. We're just talking about Mike's porn collection, and I don't know.
You didn't show up until 2 minutes before we went live.
6 minutes before.
3 minutes before.
3, okay. Yeah. All right, so we have a range of 20 and a trigger range of 120. Okay, and as far as what the conversation between me and Derpy, it's all good because I still got it, as we'll see in future pictures. I even, from a watcher of the show, I got what was showing today in his Saw Factory. But so basically the issue here is that we have, I'm not even going to get into the hibernation mine. We're just going to talk about the anti-ship mine. And then the other issue is, why does one weigh 10 tons and the other one weigh 20 tons? I've not seen any explanation from Kixeye I mean, I've seen some people talk about it, but there's nothing out there.
I can answer that one.
But from what Kickside said, or from what you've seen on Discord?
From what I know about it, you have a total. You have a limited.
No,
I know the answer. I don't know why you don't want the answer.
No, I just want your source of information, just so we know, because
the game inside the game, there's a few numbers.
A big part of this is what I'm trying to say is, how did people get the information? Is it on the forums? Is it on the prints?
For the weight stuff, it's looking at the saw factory inside the game, and I watched Ren's video on it.
Okay. Yeah, Ren's video was very
basically
good. He did a good video there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Basically, saw factory has between 2 and 4 slots depending on your upgrade level. It also has a maximum number of weight of tons it can hold. At level 1, it can hold 50 tons. Level 1 holds 50 tons, and you can have 2 slots at level 1. So you can put in two hibernations, you can put in a hibernation and anti-ship mine, you can put in 2 anti-ship mines, anything that fill those 2 slots, because the max weight you can get with 2 mines is 50 or is 40. And that's the cap of 50 tons. If you go up to level 3, say that ends up being a max level 2 or level 3. I think the pop-up says this thing goes to level 3, but it doesn't. If you upgrade this thing to level 2, and say your max is now 70 tons, and you have 4 slots, you can't fit all 4 hibernation mines because you need a max of 80, but the max is 70, so you can't fit all 4 hibernations. It's like the rocket launch pad, how you can't have 25 of the heavy rockets, you can have a combination of those. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so you're basically saying, okay, I mean, the point of what I'm trying to do here right now is to explain what is going on that players did not get from Kickstarter, that did not get from the forums or above the game messaging. And so that's what I'm trying to get at, as far as if are you understanding that? As far as,
do you know what's missing out of this? Swag. That's what's missing. Remember Riken and that stuff. Remember when the mega ship came out, the briefing videos that we had, when the really big changes to the game came out and that stuff. They do an explanation videos and this is what's going on and that sort of stuff. We don't get any of that anymore. So this is quite a transformation in the base defense concept.
Oh, it's different because we get false information first, and
but also and also the stats are incorrect as well. So.
Yeah. So I understand what you're saying, that Swag with either the blue beard or the red beard or whatever beard color he had at that point in time, he was trying to explain the new technology that we wanted to go spend time or coins or whatever on. He was explaining why you wanted to do it. And then now we get blueprints that don't really reflect what's happening, and no explanation of what's actually happening, the impact that they would have in the game, because this is, which is already spoiled. This is still wrong, and it's still wrong in the game, at least as of this morning. So one more click. Yeah, as I understand, it will go off within 120, boom, and then confirmation through Peter, which will detect and the ship will explode. And then, those were the first ones I got, which means it would explode at 120 range, 120 away, but it would only have a 20 range. And
which is dumb.
Yeah, which is fucking useless. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So Ren, have you seen Ren's latest video? He got hit, and some of his mines went off, and it definitely is 12 and 20, without a doubt.
Yeah. And then eventually, I tagged Braden a couple times. The trigger range is 120, so it's typo. It's
again another typo.
Yes.
and I know they've done all the stats. I get that they've redone all the damage figures and everything's been done. So there's been a huge amount of amendments, but at least the new items should be correct.
Well, it's just like I think Hefe said before. All we had to do was look at the stats on this and say something's wrong. Anybody who's got half an understanding of the game just looks at it and go, "That doesn't make any sense." So
well, just a half understanding of math, let alone the game.
Yeah, exactly. So
if your damage range is 20 and it triggers at 120, funny enough, you're 100 away still.
Exactly.
That's 5 tiles.
Yeah.
But the original response was, "This is the way it's supposed to be," and I found that disconcerting. I'll just leave it at that. Disconcerting, the fact that, okay, this is the way it works. And then eventually, after much prodding, we hit an extra 0. So whatever. So,
I mean, the thing is, it's not so much on the hibernation one because the duration is for 30 seconds. So that's fine. That's like a denial tool. If you can put it at the front of the channel, they run over it, and then it's going to sit there for 30 seconds. That burns away time, and that's worth having. But the other one's got a 1 second duration. So if you were to blow it up at 120 away, it would take you more than a second to travel those 5 tiles. So it would never do any damage. So that would be a complete pointless item.
Yeah. But both of them are incorrect. But like I was saying, the anti-ship one is the one that, like you said, it's completely useless. You're just blowing up sardines in the middle of nowhere, and then the ship is not impacted at all. So yeah.
I mean, I actually thought they had the range the wrong way around. I thought they were thinking, because people are running mostly no longer stacked anymore because of obviously the corrosive damage and that sort of stuff. So I was thinking it was going to be a trigger of 20 with a range of 120, but and
we'll come chase you down.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Why would we want clear stat blocks in Battle Pirates? I don't understand that.
Anyway,
you wouldn't want the right details in a strategy game, would you?
No. You would rather want to make choices going in completely blind than being able to judge trade-offs of making certain decisions with full information.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's stop being so negative. Come on.
Well,
I'm not being negative.
I don't.
I want a blind monkey throwing darts at the specials, and I put on whichever one it lands on.
Okay,
that was me in the VXP target. That was me. I was the blind monkey. I was like, I don't understand this.
Okay, now that's being negative. But as far as the whole thing, as far as like, what is the player's understanding versus what they're actually getting? Like, you're buying this car for X, and this is what you're getting, because I always considered the blueprints and the briefings as sort of like an advertisement for a new vehicle.
Sales pitch. Yeah, sales pitch. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and I'm like, you show up this guy, he's like, oh yeah, it'll go off 120 away, but it's only going to damage 20. So yeah, I'm like, okay, I'm just going to walk away from this disreputable used car salesman. As far as
it's pre-owned cars.
Okay, refurbished.
Yeah.
Okay, but that's what I see when I look at the blueprints. As far as, I don't want to buy this. This is not good. This is. I'm not going to. Yeah. So okay.
By the time I get to build it in about 3 months, they might have ironed out the problems. So
that's a good approach.
Yeah. All right. Let's unless we have anything more. This is from this morning. We still have a trigger range of 120. This is from somebody who's already built the saw mine. So I think the problem was shown to them, and they still didn't make any changes. But whatever. And they seem to hide these things as far as like, it's an obvious fuck up, but they're not changing what they communicate to the players.
So they don't know, they don't care, or they're too much work to change it. Or they don't know how to change it. That's what I said.
Okay. All right.
So just one thing more on the sawmill. When you're
The sawmill.
yes, the sawmill. When you're building, so unlike when you're doing rockets, if you're building a rocket, you can still go into the rocket, launch pad and have a look around. When you're building a mine, you can't. So if you've got plenty of mines, you're going to move things around and that sort of thing. Go, I fancy changing different sort of mines and that sort of stuff. You can't do it. All you get is speed up or base planner.
Okay.
You don't get anything else. You can't do anything. And if you're just in the middle of like doing one of the 6-hour ones, then unlucky. You see it in 6 hours and 1 minute. Or cancel it.
I think that's one of the things that they were trying to fix, because the other thing that's going on wrong with the Saw Factory is the fact that if you are upgrading your dock and you've already have a anti-ship mine or a hibernation mine already built, you cannot place it on the map if you're upgrading your dock or you're upgrading, you're building anything, because it was in the same. I'm not sure if they fixed that in the last 12 minutes before the show started, because it was the last 12 minutes before the show started. But I think that's what's happening.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, normally you can go up to the command center, you've got shipyard and conquest yard. It's all in there, but it doesn't even say Saw Factory. So they haven't even put it in the menu at the top, in the top right.
Okay.
There's nothing there at all. There's no relevant sort of section that you can click on to even look at it, sort of stuff. So even whilst you're building a mine, whilst you're updating your dock or something, or you can't go into it by clicking on it, so you got to go into the menu bar and do it that way. But you can't even do that with the Saw Factory at all. Literally, you can't get into it. So slightly frustrating.
Yeah. And as far as the artwork, does anybody else see this as COVID-19 mixed with a jellyfish?
I quite like them, actually. It's difficult to work out with the center of masses, though, because obviously, is it at the bottom of the water strands? Is it at the bottom of the, I can imagine it's probably like a anti-submarine mine. It's probably just whatever at the end of the cord. It's probably the center of the base, probably.
But you see what I'm saying, right?
It is COVID-ish.
Well,
yeah.
And there's jellyfish below.
Well, this has been yeah.
So one good thing I noticed on the thing from Ren's video, or based what I could see anyway, you can obviously see them being the defender, but even when they get close with thermal or with sonar, they can't see them at all.
Okay.
Based on what I saw in Ren's video, which was only 40 seconds long, but he actually got hit with a couple of mines in his. So we saw the anti-ship one work very well, to be honest.
It took out like 75% of a trencher, it looked like.
Yeah, it did a good job.
Half.
I mean, trench is not a good example, obviously, not anymore. Yeah. Even a U2 one, but yeah, you're right. It did, and it showed the targeting range, in effect range, and that sort of stuff quite accurately. I thought it was quite good, But it was pleasing to see, because I was unsure of that. Can anybody that's coming in pre-target them like we do in the SSRB targets, and take out their mines? So no is the answer, which is reassuring.
And it wouldn't even matter if you could see them, because they have 10 billion deflection.
Yeah.
You can't kill them. Yeah.
They also got explosive range of 120, so don't worry about it.
And how many can you have in your base at once? Is it just one out on the water at any one time?
Four.
You can actually have 4
with a level 2 Saw Factory. You can have 4 of them,
but only 3 are active.
Right.
Okay, I guess why are only 3 active?
Well, if I could get into my Saw Factory, I'd show you, but I can't.
Well, okay. You can have multiple if there are multiple slots that are unlocked.
Yeah. And you can build as many as you like. So that's one point. Obviously, once you've done a couple of that sort of stuff, keep building like you were building your rockets, because obviously, they once they've triggered, they disappear. So as long as you've got some spare ones, then they'll just keep going.
If I come over, I fail in TSM space, it doesn't take his away. If I come over, I flatten him and trigger the mine, it will take it away, and that will get automatically replaced by the next one next spare one he has.
Yeah.
Right.
But that would never happen, right?
No, it would never happen. It's a purely hypothetical event.
Okay.
So the weight you're talking about is the ones that are actually deployed. So you could, in theory, have 50 built.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And to be honest, you'd have to be hit and lose 50 times then to obviously deplete the whole lot.
Yeah.
That's going to take a while, you know.
Yeah.
So it's not, you know, it's like stacking up your free VXP tokens, isn't it, for Conquerors? You know, using your mega ship, which is the only thing it's worth for. It takes a while, but.
And I mean, before we get in VXP weekend, I was so surprised. I'm going to save that for VXP weekend because the Gladiuses are.
Stop spoiling my slides.
The Gladiuses are epic.
Good ships, very strong, apparently.
Yeah, and it was next slide, Mike. But I hit one and I just ran over to the target with the Gladius, and I was like, oh, I didn't get a VXP target. And I look at it and I'm like, I got 99 out of 99 and 109 out of 99. I don't know what was going on there, but yeah, I'm assuming it was part of some program in the past. So so a fix for the mine deploy issue while buildings upgrading should be fixed. Maybe when people are sharing screens, we'll get this. So next one. I'll
have to hide my mines.
All right. I'm going to put you to full screen. Okay, the first thing, as far as people that just want VXP, you see where my ship's here at the bottom left? Just go at like 7 o'clock, kill this ship. I'm sorry, kill this building with the red...
the outposty looking thing, yeah.
Yeah, and you're going to get one more click. You're going to get 64.
You can even come in at 9, really.
Well, yeah.
It's pretty open range is all I'm trying to say. You got to be real careful.
Yeah.
Well, you should have told me that before I used I hit it 3 times, used 2 VXP tokens on it. Should have told me that first.
Shoulda, coulda, woulda.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, well, one step back. But yeah. If you just kill that, you're going to get the basically 75,000 VXP. I'm not sure how we want to explore the rest of it because
I think it would be best if I think I could share my screen so just we can zoom in on these turrets a little bit more, and maybe I could kill something. You can see how that might work.
I mean, have a good. Okay, go ahead. But
this image is kind of blurry, but I can zoom in a whole lot closer. There's a few different enemy types here, across this target. We assume the mechanics will be the same or similar. Layout will be different. Starting out,
I like the target.
Yeah,
I like the concept.
It looks cool.
Clean.
I mean,
it's clean as well.
Yeah. Yeah, nothing too messy going on. No half submerged ships underwater. It makes sense. I will say that
freaking rubbish, So it should help people with and with lag and all that sort of stuff. So
yeah, a few different enemy types in this one. The first one here is a UAV that I'm mousing over. It deals ballistic damage and it outranges you. It outranges you. Deals ballistic damage, and you can countermeasure this one. Gales do not work. Gales do not fire whatsoever. Missile Defense System 3 works pretty darn well, 75% of the time roughly. Sprints fire, but they are only about 10 to 20% accurate. They don't take down nearly as many as the MDS-3 does. And obviously we have the anti-missile boosts on one of the specials. So a few Missile Defense System 3s on your fleet are the way to go. You probably don't need more than 5 across the fleet, maybe even fewer than that. But that's your UAV turret, ballistic damage.
Yeah, I watched I've watched TSMs, and he was shooting down at the worst. At the absolute worst, he was shooting down all but 2.
Yeah, there's 6 that comes out here.
Yeah, that was unranked.
With one single
Yeah.
MDS3.
And that MDS3 has a salvo of 10. You could theoretically deal with 10 coming into you at one time, which is why I think you might be able to get with like 2 on the entire fleet is a possibility. And it doesn't matter your reload time, doesn't really matter your rank if you have, because you only fire 1 time at every incoming UAV.
I'm thinking 4, but yeah, go ahead.
You fire 1 time at every incoming UAV.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going for 4 across the whole fleet. I'm not putting any on the flagship. So.
Yeah, because the other issue is, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Turpy. Do what you're going to do to that.
I'm just showing you the picture of it.
Okay.
I could bring in my Everest, which has MDS3, and watch that shoot at it, but I'm just going to talk about each of these quickly. Any more on the UAV guy here? Ballistic damage. Use MDS3 on it.
Okay.
Anyway, next guy is a radioactive turret. And I have my exterminators here, which aren't damaged by anything because they have 100 billion health compared to like 7 damage. So,
yeah.
I mean, this is what the UAV looks like. And I'll hopefully not kill it.
Brown buggers,
shoots at you. I killed it, but shoots at you. They come back, shoot again, whatever. Here's the radioactive turret. This guy again outranges you. And every 6 shots that hit roughly get an explosion. You can see it's missing on my evade, and this guy is 69% evade. And it will get off a shockwave, roughly. Depending on your grade levels, it might take a while, but it does shockwave. We assume that shockwave is, this regular splash damage stuff, and there we go. There you saw one. It looks like it continues to shockwave once it's already built up, which is similar.
It's the fadeaway. It doesn't take it stays there for a while, so it only takes a couple more before it obviously gets it back to its supercharge again. So
yeah, but if you have a decently high evade or kill it fairly quickly, it shouldn't really ever shockwave. As you're seeing,
driving,
evade
you can't really do it on this one. You need also a ship with nothing. So there's an inner ring as well. I noticed I think if you get in around about 50 or something, I was guessing around about 50, then it stops firing because obviously you're too close. So if you're really concerned, to me, when you've got those 3 different types, so you've got the launcher, you've got the UAV, which you can counter, the ballistic turret, which you've just done there, the decimator, that's the one that you can't really, you can evade it a little bit, but it always fires no matter what, it outranges you. So that's the order I'd go in. I go decimator, then the UAV, and then the launcher if you're driving in nice and close, because you'll get inside the range of the launcher and it'll stop firing at you. So,
and then there are 2 more things we haven't covered, or 3 more things, I guess. One of those is these big buildings. I've got no idea what this red thing is. Does it increase turret damage? Does it?
Yeah, I think that's what it is, because I tried that as well. I didn't put it in my video, but I did try it beforehand, and I think it is exactly that. I think it's a multiplier like the previous raid set. Get rid of those first, and I think it drops the output of their turrets. That's
my best guess. Then you have these radioactive guys, radio towers. You kill this, which I've done over here, and this turret starts shooting at the enemy, which is great, and it draws fire from these. Might only do that if this is the closest. I think you can see if I move my ship closer, then these turrets start shooting at my ship. But maybe if you, I killed them. But anyway, turret shoots at that stuff, and you can see the firing arcs on screen. I think it only does enough damage to kill this beacon, this red thing, which has
got a fire support thing above it, isn't it? The logo is a fire support logo. So.
This red's different than that red, so I don't know what's going on.
We'll have to wait for their explainer. I'm not 100% sure myself. But your turret, which is yours, is the far side, isn't it? Which is killing their beacon.
Yeah, I do agree. Why do they have those? Those squares over them, because that's not the.
It's not the impact range, is it? So what exactly does that square mean? I couldn't work it out.
It's not the area influence.
it's not like they're telling us, and we know this means this increases turret damage, increases turret defense. We have no clue.
Go put your cursor over top of that far sight again, mate. Well, far sight looking thing, anyway. Yeah, so there you go. That little square, it seems to serve no purpose because when that turret that's your turret is firing, it's not as if they land inside that square. They land all over the place.
Is that just spread?
I think it's mostly.
It could be. But you look at the randomness of where
they're all near that spot. I mean, and it only does damage to this red thing. I mean, the health on this thing must be so low compared to these turrets that you can see it's landing near the turrets. If you keep this up for about a minute, there'll be some damage bars that will appear over this, but it never actually really does damage to them. So it's probably just here to you're supposed to drive around the target, kill these red things, and then call it good.
I still don't see the point of that little red thing that's in the middle. I'm not quite sure what it does.
Yeah.
And maybe not in this turret. In this target, it may do nothing whatsoever, and we're just getting a visual, and it's not actually doing anything. Maybe for a later series.
I don't know. I'm willing to bet it increases, it buffs something in terms of the enemy stuff, but no idea. Anyway,
strategy guide. I'm sure it'll tell us in depth.
Yeah, about the day before the raid, it would give you a sentence.
Yeah. Still be unclear as to what it does.
Yeah. These turrets, again, shoot at this enemy guy, or the enemy turrets shoot at your friendly one. They're opposite. You can... I don't see this one...
inside it, I think.
Yeah, until you get closer. I don't see this guy taking damage, and your reclaimer ships will heal this turret, but it's very slow. Yeah. It's extremely slow, and if you can sit here for about 5 minutes, it will heal 5% with your reclaimers. So I think the numbers are off, and something's fucked up.
So it's supposed to be every 0.2 of a second.
Yeah. What is going on here? I mean, this is one of my things.
This turret's not taking damage. It doesn't make sense. Why does our ship have a healing effect for the turret if it doesn't take damage? Does it do something different at full health? How would we know that?
Okay.
No clue. And it takes forever to even heal that.
Cause up with that and see if it...
Well, this is not my reclaimer, so it won't do anything.
Okay. But what I'm saying is, like, if it's at full health, does it do something different?
And it would take you about half an hour to get it up to full health.
I mean, the transfer is supposed to be every 0.2 seconds, 16,000 armor points.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so I was 25 million? You don't know. Anyway, this last turret in here, it's this guy right here with the concussive barrel looking. It shoots at you, leaves behind a thing behind you where you can outrun this, is my point. TSM, what did you call these?
Random snowballs. Something like that. Bubble machine, I think it was.
Bubble machine.
Yeah.
So,
but they generally fire behind. It's dumbfire, isn't it? So.
It does ballistic damage, believe it or not. And then the decimator also does ballistic damage. Radioactive damage is from these guys. The radioactive launcher.
Yeah, that's the only radioactive there is in the target.
So I agree that ballistic might be more important, especially if you have high evade.
And you can get inside the range of those launchers and they stop firing. So.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if I can actually model that.
Not with that ship, I doubt it. You'll just annihilate everything. Because there's a bit of an error building the target. Yeah.
Let's see. Nah, too close.
And I think that's just a consequence of changing the stats that's happened this month. I don't think it's anything else.
Yeah, they've changed the stats on PvE, but not on PvP. So you've got 1,000 times the strength still.
Yeah. So if you want to go out and prep for people in your alliance that don't have all the defender tokens, then you can literally go around and just leave that one building there that Hefe was talking about hit first, and just leave that one, and they'll get an amazing amount of VXP. Yeah, they get all the VXP and defender tokens. So what a win for all your little baby alliance, members.
Yeah, there's your target info. Key takeaways are you need a shit ton of damage because my reclaimers are hardly scratching anything. Maybe killing these radio towers lets you kill the red things, which do something. Maybe not.
I think killing the red thing has to have some impact. Otherwise, those fast sights are almost pointless being in there.
Yeah.
Because at least by using the fast sight to kill the red one, you don't have to get in range. So I reckon you're correct. It's something like it's a damage buff, or it's a reload buff to the turrets, or something like that.
Yeah, gotta be something. Anyway,
Okay.
that's the VXP target. I would have more questions I want to answer on there from Kickside, but I don't expect those will ever get answered. Yeah.
Okay.
It's all good.
Yeah. Okay. So
I mean, the game's not broken. It's just, it's just a few frustrations, isn't it? I mean, we're getting it.
I'm not even frustrated. I just think this is the way it's been. I mean, I'm not even frustrated. I think this is the way it's been. As you say, this is the way it's been for a while. Yeah, and whatever. This is the way they've been doing it. They don't even. Sometimes they don't even pay attention. So it's all good. They just don't. I don't know. Am I wrong on that? That they just don't pay attention to what's going on in the game?
I'm sure they do. I wouldn't say they don't pay attention, because the ECM hull was good fun. The Gladys has been good fun. I mean, the series has been okay. There's been some good ships, some Rinstream designs and that sort of stuff. I'm not saying that I dislike everything. I quite like these siege targets. Whoever designed them, pretty decent. But I do think there's a mild amount of lack of understanding in some of the core concepts, and whether that's a legacy issue of people moving on, as always happens in this industry. I don't really know whether it's I don't think it's nobody's going to go into their company and go past a certain level of screening and go, yep, it's all good, it's fine. Oh no, I'll tell you what to do, we're just going to leave all these faults in there because I fancy doing it. They're not going to do that. So whether that's just a case of it's an oversight, whether it's a case of it's just so much change at the moment, like I say, the restructuring, all the damage statistics, and you just, some things just slip through quality control. How much quality control goes on is clearly not as much as what's needed. Is it more than before? Don't know. I find this is that pyramid game, basically. It's the inverted pyramid. Everything that gets added to the game, which is now 10 years plus, makes it more complex. And eventually, if you only come in at year 6 or year 7 or year 10 even, you don't have that foundation from the understand of adding certain items. Forget the items; it's all math, isn't it? It's only a formula at the end of the day.
And it's thinking inside the box.
Yeah, inside the box formula, exactly, just like your comment. Yeah, it's exactly that. But so the representation visually compared to the math, which is completely different. You've got to represent that math, which is the equation, of how the code works, is simply then needs to be represented so that we can visualize it in a little box that pops up on our screen so that we can understand what we need to do. If that sort of makes sense. If not, then I'll shut up. But yeah, that's it really. So coding, computers, it's just math. Wish Brian was here, but for the player perspective, it's all about visuals, and you actually think by adding that on there, like changing the skin is actually going to improve your boat. Well, it's not going to make a difference at all, because the math isn't going to change. The answer is always going to be the answer. It's either better or worse. There's no gray areas.
Okay.
That's my understanding.
Okay. It's all good.
Well, it's not all good, but it's we're humans.
As far as like explaining, because a lot of people, I mean, the big thing is, how do we explain? There's so many players in Battle Pirates, and how do you explain all their feelings associated with it? And I think you explained a lot of them, as far as like, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? And what makes you feel vulnerable or makes you feel different? based on what you think that makes sense. I mean, that may not make sense either.
I could take it one stage further. As you know, I left the game previously for a year. Why? Because there was too much skullduggery going on. There was too much underhandedness, and I didn't like the previous work group. I haven't seen that since I've come back in this particular. They do make mistakes, but they acknowledge those mistakes, and I don't feel, that actually the mistakes that they're making are subversive to the community. I think they're just genuine mistakes because it's just a lack of I think quality control and assurance. I think it's that more than anything else. Now, whether it's a billion-dollar company, which it isn't, every company, Apex Legends, Fortnite, all the big ones, they still make massive mistakes and have to send out patches all the time. So acknowledging the fact that actually this little game, which has got quite a small following in conjecture to the larger ones, doesn't do too bad, I don't think. We just want it perfect all the time, specifically if it's in our favor. Sometimes at the moment, like this VXP target, it's busted. It's absolutely broken. They haven't taken VXP away from us this weekend. They have done that in the past. So they've just gone, do you know what? It's a bit messed up, but whatever. You can tell that's what's happened because otherwise they'd have just zipped it away from us already. And actually, they're still trying to fix things as opposed to save themselves some. They're going to lose money this weekend. Absolutely going to lose money. And people are going to get extra defender tokens because their friends are going to do them for them. The really low levels.
Yeah. I'm already like 100. I mean, as far as, because the Gladius.
But I know people have got none.
Yeah, because
and they're going to get 99 this weekend just by sitting there for an hour, just going round and round in circles a couple of times. Thanks so much.
I was disappointed, but yeah, whatever.
So I mean, and I very rarely defend, this sort of company sort of policy because it is a money wins everything basically in this game, or money equates to time. Time is the winner, But I just think, giving them a little bit of leeway sometimes, isn't a bad thing. We are all humans and that sort of stuff. And there has been some, massive changes. I mean, we're into HTML5 now. And if you've got a half decent PC, it doesn't seem to be running too bad. I thought it was going to be a complete failure, well, I've been proven wrong. I think they've done very well considering. I really haven't. I made myself jump onto HTML 3 months before, obviously, sort of in October. I saw it getting better and better, and then by the time I'd forgotten about Flash, to be honest, completely forgot about it. And the transition after Christmas, I think, has gone really, really well. It's not as visually as dynamic as it used to be, but actually now I've just accepted this is the norm, and the gameplay is smoother. So
sounds like a Kixeye apologist to me.
Well, it's just reality, isn't it?
So he gave up on that. What is that Japanese dating game?
Battle Pirates Brawl?
Yeah. Well, no. I was making a joke. I think what was that game? No, there was that game that was going on. As far never mind. I'm not going to get into that. But yes, Battle Pirates Brawl. I played it. Don't even know how I provide feedback as far as
was it the takeoff version, was it?
What?
Is that the takeoff version of Battle Pirates?
No. Because I was complaining and like, okay, whatever. So, I think it was Chris that, told me, okay, I'm gonna add you into the Battle Pirates Brawl. And it's I don't know. So I've been playing like the official version of it, and
so it's a mobile game, is it?
It's a mobile game.
Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah,
because you can get it in. I don't know if you can get it in the UK, but you can get it in the
Nordic areas.
Yeah, I've seen some videos on it though.
Canada. So do you have opinions on this?
No, not at all.
Okay, I was just making sure, but I don't dislike it. It's just sort of, I'm not sure how
it's not Battle Pirates or anything related to Battle Pirates. Completely different.
correct. It's not a Battle Pirates game, but deep inside my soul, I want it to be, correct? Right, Derpy?
Yeah.
But it's not. And I'm not sure how to make it that way. But I'm sorry. Let's just move on with other things. But yeah, I wanted to make it, me and you and a dog named Sue. But I don't think I'm going to get that to happen. If that makes sense to you.
It does not, but I don't need to go into details.
Okay, it's all good. So, TSM, do you want to explain why Texas has no power, and why, Ted Cruz is taking his daughters to Mexico?
Literally have no idea what you're talking about. And Mike, I can't see the slides, mate. Yeah, let's get on with some slides.
I just want to know so I can know whether I need to keep them up on the screen or not.
Hefe, we done with your slides? I'm not sure.
Okay, we can go back. Otherwise,
I think we are actually.
Yeah, well, we can.
More AFM updates.
Yeah, because we've only gone an hour. So, but either way,
I've been playing the FM, just hitting the 135s. I had driving the 160.
Yeah, it's okay.
So I got a video ready for the FM. I was going to do it tonight, but I didn't. I thought the VXP target one was doing it. But I've got an FM time motion sort of video coming up. Basically, it's quite interesting about the difference in the new target. Obviously, the 174 for the damage versus the points, and then the 182 damage versus points, and the 163 particularly. 135, we get that. Rule that out because it's instant fixed. But
there any in your video?
We'll go ahead if you want to roll with that.
Hey, Mike, your audio is coming in a bit soft.
That's because I moved my mic. I'm sorry.
That's better. Now I can hear you, mate. Sorry.
I'm sorry. I just you said the 163 was the new one.
Yeah, so 174. Yeah, so I did the 174 sort of like a first look video, and I thought to myself, actually, that was okay. It was reasonable damage. And then on auto, I was thinking to myself, right, people like to be doing things whilst they're, particularly like I said previously in that other video I did. And I think that was the one where we said we were doing do pillage at the same time, do your FM sort of stuff, because that's the one event where there's both things are going on at the same sort of time. So I thought to myself, you want to be doing auto really on the FM and then cracking away and getting on the other with other business,
Best case, yes.
Yeah, best case scenario.
I have a question.
Yeah, go on.
Is there anywhere you can go to not be targeted by that? I don't know the name of the ship, the hull.
Hellstar.
The Hellstar?
It's the one that
or the other one. The one that remote targets.
It's once you get rid of the Hellstars, it stops. But is there any way to? I don't think there's a way to avoid any hits. I mean, you can't take 0 hits from that, correct?
You can use mountains, but
yeah, that's the only thing. Mountains. It doesn't do a great deal of damage, though. To be honest,
it doesn't do a whole lot of damage. I think I did one for like a half an hour or something driving, something like that, give or take 5 minutes.